It is no secret to anybody here that I love covering my body in pretty little pictures that mean varying degrees of things. I'm actually going to get tattooed later this week, so I thought this would be the perfect time to give you guys some advice for getting your first tattoo. I've come up with 5 different things that I think you should think about before you go and put a bumper sticker on a Bentley. The first piece of advice that I have is don't get tattooed. Save your money. No, but in all honesty, it is way better to save up and invest in a tattoo artist who actually knows what they're doing rather than going to your friend or going to somebody who's a bit less experienced just because it's cheaper. I have done this a couple of times. I have gone to apprentices, and there's some fantastic apprentices, so please don't come for me, guys. But if it's your first tattoo and you're a little bit nervous, I highly recommend that you go to somebody who you know can do what you want them to do. So save your money. The second tip that I have for you is to research the artist. This is the step that I want you to spend the most amount of time on. I know you might have friends who've gone to get tattoos and they might recommend artists to you, which is fantastic. But if you have a very specific style that you want, then you need to go to an artist that specializes in that style. I don't want you to just look up a couple of pics on Insta and then be like,
oh cool, they kind of did this,
and then go get it. I want you to take your time before you make your mind up. I want you to ask around. Are they a nice person? Do other people like getting tattooed by them? Do they post healed pictures? What do their tattoos look like 3 or 4 years down the line, 10 or 20 years down the line? A lot of artists will post their pictures or their tattoos as they're fresh, but you want to know what's going to happen. How are they going to heal? So ask around and research your artist. That is tip number 2. Tip number 3 is to listen to the tattoo artist that you have selected. I know it's really nerve-wracking putting something on your body for the first time, but you do have to extend some trust to the professional that you have chosen to decorate your body. So what I mean by this is if you have your heart absolutely set on putting a tattoo somewhere and then the artist says, oh well, actually it might flow a little bit better with your body if you put it somewhere else, then that's probably a good idea to listen to them. I was dead set on filling this sleeve with little bits of just little patchworky things. So I spoke to the artist that I go to, Sean, and then I was like, oh, but I really want it to go. And he was like, look, well, that means we're gonna have less space later on to fill up this sleeve and do other cool things with it. Instead of absolutely being dead set on the fact that I was going to get this frog tattoo on my arm, I just put it somewhere else. And I do know that that is a bigger deal later on when you're more tattooed. For your first tattoo, what listening to the artist might look like is if you really, really want something right here or in a crease, that's not going to heal as well because it's a moving body part, right? So the skin is going to fold and change and stretch. So if you're dead set on getting it there, maybe it's best to listen to the artist that you're working with and get it a little bit further down so that it heals better and it lasts longer. I know we feel like we're professionals in everything we do, but tattoo artists, they know their shit, okay? Particularly the one that you're going to, because you will have listened to step number 2 and you will have researched them. Now, step number 4 is not to copy somebody else's tattoo. This is just bad etiquette. I have personally had tattoos stolen. For example, my artist designed this beautiful stingray and somebody else completely copied that stingray. If you take an exact design to a tattoo artist from somebody else's tattoo and they don't adjust it or they don't change it, that's not a great look. You're kind of stealing somebody else's skin. I know that there's not necessarily any original ideas out there, but if you're doing something that looks exactly the same, which this one did, and also it's so much more fun working with an artist and the two of you guys coming up with something that's a little bit more unique rather than just copy and pasting what somebody else did. Particularly if it's your first tattoo, you want to follow the etiquette. So come in with ideas, come in with your references, but be open to change. Don't steal somebody else's tattoo. And the last tip I have for you guys, tip number 5, is to eat something. I have heard so many stories from the artists that I've been to over the years about having clients pass out because the pain was too much and they couldn't handle it and they didn't have enough to eat. So before you go to your appointment, at least a couple hours before, make sure that you have something to eat. My go-to food of choice is like a big sandwich. And then I take some chocolate snacks if it's a particularly long session. But honestly, I feel like the more tattoos you get, the more like painful they are because there's no more adrenaline left. So long sessions are a thing of the past for me. This was like 15 hours and we're not doing that again, ever.
Ever.
So do not show up to the studio without food in your belly, okay? That is like a rule, that's not a tip. And the last one, a little bit of a bonus tip, guys, is to have fun with it. I know before you get tattooed, they really seem like a big deal and it feels like everybody's gonna be looking at you, and they do sometimes, depending on where you are. But tattoos don't have to be a big deal. And that was something that I realized for me. As soon as I got a couple, I was like, oh, that's it. And so go nuts with it. Get whatever you want, get it where you want it, with the caveat that if you're gonna get visible tattoos, please know that you're making yourself less hireable. Yeah. Tattoos don't have to be a big deal. They can be so much fun. They don't have to mean something. It's wonderful if they do, and it's wonderful if they don't. We get one life. Everybody's gonna get old and wrinkly. Tattoos are gonna fade. Our bodies are gonna change. They're just like little bits of memories of who you are. They're just like little bits of memories of who you were at the time that you got it. And if you're gonna get a drunk tattoo, you're my hero. Now I am gonna go get a tattoo. I'll show you guys the finished project now. I put out new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Be kind to yourselves, everyone.